What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chuds BBQ. My name is Bradley Robinson, and today I'm going to show you how I made this. Beautiful, delicious, smoky, shrimpy, seafoody, amazing shrimp and crawfish etouffee boudin. That's right, folks, we're taking all the great flavors of a lovely etouffee and stuffing it into a hog casing with some rice for a lovely Cajun sausage. Coming up. This is some shellfish. Pat them dry. And what I've got here is some head-on, peel-on shrimp. Picked these up from the grocery store. Got these last night because they were frozen, but I let them defrost in the fridge overnight. Same deal with these crawfish over here. And I know working with head-on, peel-on shrimp can be kind of a pain in the butt because the first thing we need to do is remove the heads and the peels, but I promise it's worth it. And that's because today we're making a shrimp and crawfish etouffee boudin. And etouffee is one of my favorite things to make and eat because it's super tasty. And if you're unfamiliar, it's essentially a Cajun seafood stew of sorts, typically served over rice. And boudin is a Cajun sausage, which is also quite rice heavy. So I figured putting the two together ought to make for a fantastic dish. But if you've ever made etouffee before, one of the key ingredients is a really good seafood stock. That's really gonna bring a lot of the good flavor. And the store-bought stuff isn't very good, although you could substitute with clam juice if you're really in a pinch. And all the tedious work ahead of time will pay off with a very flavorful stock, and therefore a flavorful etouffee, and therefore a flavorful etouffee boudin. So let's get these all peeled up. Starting by removing the head, taking the legs off, and as much of this shell as will come off with the legs. Pinch the tail, and it should all slide off like that. Beautiful little shrimp, and the beginning of our shell pile. So now we repeat this many times. Luckily, it's very easy. And I have tried making seafood stock with just the shells of shrimp before, and it works, it's pretty good, but really the heads bring a lot of the flavor and the creaminess and the richness that make this dish so fantastic. So highly recommend it. Just get some buddies involved. You can fly right through these. We're also gonna do the same thing to these crawfish. We're gonna go ahead and pull the heads off. A lot of really good flavor in there. That's gonna add a lot of richness and flavor to the stock. And then I'm gonna do my best to peel these tails to add some more wonderful meat to our eventual boudin. And just like that, after about 30 minutes of some very tedious peeling, we've got ourselves a whole bunch of shells, as well as some cleaned up shrimp and crawfish tails. And that's probably not enough, so I did buy some deveined and deshelled shrimp and crawfish, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So in the meantime, into a pot we go with all of our shells. Probably should have used a bigger pot. And get that covered up with water. I found a bigger pot. And now we're gonna bring this up to a simmer. This stock has been simmering away for about 15 minutes or so, and now we're gonna go ahead and add in all the veggie trim from everything we just chopped up, including the onions, some parsley stems, the green onion ends, bits of celery, just everything to help fortify the stock and add some more flavor. Also gonna go in with a couple of bay leaves, black peppercorns, and a decent amount of some fresh thyme. And now back on the heat this goes, and I'm gonna let it simmer for another probably 30 minutes. This video is brought to you by Rocco. And here at the Chud Shop, we've got a pretty industrial vibe with the concrete floors, the steel tables, the metal shelves with all the cooking gear on it, which is great for making videos and cooking food, but we also do a lot of entertaining. And over the past couple of weeks, we've been getting a lot of compliments on our new beverage fridge, made by Rocco. And this thing is awesome. Right off the bat, it is the best looking fridge we've got. It's functional, it's stylish, it's kind of like a bar cart meets a mini fridge, all at the same time, which keeps our drinks cold, and it's centrally located, so very convenient for our thirsty guests. And it fits a lot of drinks, you know, a lot more than I was expecting. They come in a variety of colors, and honestly, Brooke is a little mad at me that I didn't get the orange one, because it's very cute. But whatever your vibe is, I'm sure there's a color for you. And I gotta say, it's just a very good looking refrigerator, you know? It's almost like a piece of furniture and a fridge put together, as opposed to something more industrial that you'd see in a professional kitchen or something like that. But looks aside, it's a very functional fridge, and it's honestly incredibly quiet. When we plugged it in, I didn't think it was actually working because it's so quiet, which is really great if you're gonna put this in your bedroom or your living room or something like that, or if you're filming a cooking show next to a fridge. Very convenient. And there's also an app that goes with it. So if you ever needed it to be super quiet for some reason, you can turn on the quiet mode or use the app to keep an eye on inventory, which is super convenient if you're at the grocery store and you don't know how many beers you got left. And of course, you can also control temperature and all that sort of stuff from the app. And ever since we've had that thing, it's come in super handy because it's really nice to have a dedicated beverage fridge as opposed to reaching around the milk and the eggs in the fridge trying to get stuff, and how the shelves pull right out so you can see everything you've got in there. Also, the racks inside are flippable, so you can put things like wine bottles in there as well, or whatever you're trying to keep cold. The fridge looks great, functions great, really happy to have one around. I might have to get another one for my house, to be honest with you. And it's very popular. I think it sold out like 7 times last year. So if you want to get one, I highly recommend jumping on it quickly. I'll have a link in the description box down below, and if you use code CHUDS50 at checkout, you can save $50 on your order. Again, highly recommend this Rocco fridge. Click my link down below and use code CHUDS50 at checkout to save $50 off your order. Thank you, Rocco. And after bubbling away for about an hour or so, we can go ahead and strain out all of the particulates through a little sieve here, because all these shells and veg have given us all the flavor they got. Nice part about making a seafood stock. It doesn't take nearly as long as a chicken or a beef stock. And with all the big stuff out of there, I'm going to send it through a fine mesh strainer to make sure we got all the peppercorns and little particulates. Beautiful. And just like that, our seafood stock is done, which means we can start making our etouffee. Start by going into a pot with 1 cup of oil. And ideally, don't use a pot that you previously tried to make stock in because it'll pop and spit a lot. But once that is nice and toasty, in we go with our all-purpose flour. And we're gonna start making a roux, stirring this constantly till it cooks down and darkens up a little bit. And you could do this really low for hours and hours on end, but high heat and keeping an eye on it works out pretty well. This cooked for maybe 6 minutes. And that's the color we're going for. Not quite a full dark roux, but not a blonde one either. Smells nice and toasty. So now while everything's ripping hot, in we go with our veg, including 2 yellow onions. Get those stirred in, followed by our celery, green bell pepper, and some jalapeno. And I also got the whites from the green onions as well. And let that start cooking down. It'll start releasing moisture and kind of deglaze the bottom of the pot and start to soften up. And while that cooks down, we'll go in with a nice big fat pinch of salt, help dry out some of the moisture, and begin the seasoning process, because it's a lot of veg. And after cooking this down for about 15 minutes or so, all those veg have softened up, taken on some good color. Onions are starting to look translucent. So now I'm gonna go in with some tomato paste. And there's a bit of a debate whether tomatoes go in etouffee or not. I leave that to you, but for today, I'm gonna split the difference and go with a little tomato paste. Tablespoon or 2, we'll let that fry down a little bit, help intensify the flavor. And also go in with our garlic at this point. And let this cook down for maybe 2 to 3 minutes because we don't want that garlic to burn. But we do want it to be nice and fragrant. And once that starts smelling incredibly good, finally in we go with some of our lovely seafood stock. A little bit at first, get that mixed in, and then a little bit more, and then in with the rest. And for the record, that was about 1 gallon of seafood stock total. And now I'm gonna bring this up to a simmer and let this cook down for the next probably 30, 45 minutes or so, maybe even longer. Just let that roux cook into the stock, let all those flavors come together and let this reduce down and concentrate just a little bit, which gives me plenty of time to get my rice cooker going. And after simmering away for the last 45 minutes to an hour, our little gravy situation here has thickened up nicely, smelling really good. All the veggies cooked through and nice and softened and all that good stuff. So now we need to go ahead and adjust the seasoning, starting with everyone's favorite Cajun seasoning, little Tony C's, a little bit of salt, a little bit of heat, followed by a little shot of some Worcestershire sauce, a little paprika to help with the color, and some cayenne. But we're really gonna dial in the cayenne and Tony's until it's as salty and as spicy as we want it to be. So we're just gonna start tasting and adjusting. And once you get that spice and salinity dialed in, I'm gonna finish this off with a little splash of white vinegar just because it is pretty rich, and a little acidity I think will help this out quite a bit. But I gotta tell you, it is very tasty, nice and thick from that roux, and very seafoody. And at this stage, if I was making regular etouffee, I would toss the shrimp and the crawfish in, let those cook through, and then we're ready to serve. But because we're making boudin, I'm not sure how much of this liquid we're gonna need in comparison to how much rice and how much shrimp, so I'm gonna try and keep them all separate. So I got this back up to a simmer, and I'm gonna take this little strainer here, pop that right down in there, and then go in with all of our shrimp. That way I can cook them and then pull them out. Also, I came through and I cut some of these bigger ones in half so we don't end up with a giant piece of shrimp or something that'll clog up the old stuffer here in a little bit. But this should only take maybe 2-3 minutes in this simmering stock. Then I'll go ahead and pull these out. And in no time at all, perfectly cooked shrimp, poached in gumbo/etouffee liquid. Sounds pretty good to me. And as for all the crawfish tails, they're already cooked. So I'm just gonna go ahead and throw them in the rice and this hot liquid, and honestly, it's probably gonna help cool everything else down so I can get in there with my hands. Speaking of rice, this is some long grain rice, 3 cups to be exact. I've put a little bit of Tony C's in there with the water and popped it in the old rice cooker, and now it's done. So out it comes. And we'll go ahead and get that fluffed up a little bit. And at this point, with our rice ready to go, I'm simply gonna start eyeballing the amount of shrimp, the amount of crawfish, and the amount of liquid needed until this comes into that boudin texture where it kind of clumps together and isn't too loose. Starting out by going in with a bunch of shrimp. I want this to be pretty seafood heavy, folks. And then in with some of our crawfish tails as well. It's like I say in most of my boudin videos, a lot of the boudin you're gonna get is really rice heavy because it's really cost effective for the business. But when you make it yourself, you can make it extra meat heavy, which makes it all that much better. Just gonna go in with all of it. Oopsies. And right off the bat, that is looking and smelling incredible. So now I'm gonna start ladling in some of our little etouffee gravy over here, which is still piping hot. And whenever you're mixing boudin, it's important to really mix it up quite a bit because you're gonna free a lot of the starches in the rice and it's gonna start to bind together a little bit better. And after a little bit, that's what we're looking at. Once you can hold a big handful like that, that's kind of what we're after. I think I put about 2 cups of that liquid in, so really not as much as I was expecting. So I suspect we're gonna have to add some more salt and other flavorings because we've got a lot of rice in here. But that's the beauty of boudin. Everything is fully cooked, so simply give it a taste and adjust. Ooh, that shrimp is perfectly cooked. Why are you standing right there with a bowl?
More broth.
Come drink some broth, buddy.
It's so good.
Still hot. It's got a pretty good kick to it, so I'm just gonna go with some regular salt at this point. I'm probably gonna add some more acid here in a little bit as well. But really, just taste and adjust until it is exactly how you want it to be. A little bit of heat, a little bit of brightness. And because I made way more of this gravy than we're actually gonna use, I went through and I'm gonna pull out some of this veg from there to add to this boudin for some extra flavor and texture. Although I'll tell you one thing, not mad about having all that on hand. It's gonna make making etouffee in the future very easy. Just grill off some shrimp, throw it on that, throw in some rice, good to go. Gotta tell you folks, this is tasting absolutely incredible. Salt is there, spice is there. So to finish it off, we're gonna go in with some green onions, and a healthy amount, as well as some chopped parsley for color, freshness, and flavor. It's starting to look like buffalo chicken dip. That's weird. And on the horn we go. These are some 29 to 32 millimeter hog casings. Stroking on quite nicely, if I do say so myself. Tie it off. Snip the tip. That was weak. And now we begin casing. Gonna go for some standard sized links today. And casing boudin never ceases to feel really weird. Soft and warm. But it takes very little pressure, which is kind of nice. 1, 2, 3. Casing up nicely though, nice and plump. Loving all the green in there from the scallions at the end. And honestly, out of all the boudins I've made, some of them sound a lot worse to case than this. The word secretion comes to mind. Just casing these up like any other sausage link. Not having any problems with the chunkage of the crawfish tails or the shrimp at this point. Honestly, it's going pretty smoothly. And just like that, all cased up, looking nice and plump. Lovely color on there. No blowouts or anything like that. So now all we gotta do is smoke some off. And on the pit we go. Got the old offset here fired up with some post oak wood. Rocking right around 275, probably gonna creep up to 300 degrees. I'm just gonna cook off 4 of them for a little taste test. And I did leave these all linked together so we don't have a bunch of blowouts at the end because these casings are fresh. They didn't dry overnight, which can be a problem, but I'm gonna let the rest of them dry overnight before I vac seal them up. But for now, remember everything is fully cooked through, so really we're just trying to crisp up that casing and make sure everything is warmed and hopefully get that casing nice and snappy. So we'll see these in probably 30 minutes or so. And just like that, about 45 minutes later, these are looking absolutely beautiful, feeling nice and plump. The casings feel nice and snappy. Definitely got some good smoke color on there. And I just temped one in the back here and it's rocking right around 165, 170. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull these off. But so far, very happy with how these are looking, feeling, and smelling. But now I'm gonna let them cool down a little bit. And after letting these rest down just a little bit, they are looking good, wrinkled up a little bit. But that's to be expected with a sausage that's mostly made of rice. But let's go ahead and snip these all apart. But held its shape, looking smoky, looking good. Do you think it's got a snap to it? Ooh, yup, love the color on that. Looks so good. Now boudin can be kind of tricky to slice up, but let's see if we can get a few coins. It's difficult because it's so soft, you know what I mean? But appears to be holding together today. Lots of seafood, lots of rice, see some veg poking in there. All right, I'm ready to see how this came out. And of course, we gotta have some of the gravy for dipping. Bones.
Yeah.
Would you like to try some etouffee boudin?
Yes, that sounds so good.
As if we haven't been tasting it all day.
Well, we haven't tried the finished product.
Exactly. Looks pretty good though, held up. Good form factor.
Lots of meat in there.
Mm-hmm. Not mad about that. Great texture on that. Oh. Ooh.
Wow.
That's not bad at all.
That is really good. That smokiness definitely transforms it into something
I
else.
was just going to say the smokiness did definitely change it.
Yeah, that's so good though.
Ooh, the heat built up a little bit on it too. Look at that. Big old chunk of shrimp in there, a little crab. Crawfish is a crab. It's a lobster, crustacean of some sort. Did you go for the dip or did you go straight up?
I went for the dip.
We got separate dips, folks. No double dipping here. Oh yeah, that makes it more etouffee.
I think you kind of need a little bit of a liquid to it.
Yeah, I was thinking if I was going to plate this up or if I did this at a restaurant or something, it would plate up pretty nice, you know, like a boat or a plate with a nice dollop of the gravy on bottom, some shingled slices on top, a little green onion garnish. It'd be nice. Could have done that just now. Didn't.
Oh well. It is spicy, but
Yeah.
adding that hot sauce.
I mean, when
lightness.
we were tasting it though, I was like, oh, it needs more heat, heat. I think it's just kind of, I don't know, hydrated or something. You know what? I think more sausages need a little au jus to go with them, other than just a barbecue sauce.
There's something about etouffee that I can't stop eating it. I just can't.
Everything is cooked pretty well too. Like I was worried taking this up to like 170 on the pit, that the shrimp would get bouncy or something.
Yeah, not at all. That's so good.
You should take a snappy bite. It actually eats quite well in link form.
I'm scared.
It's not a juicer. Ooh. Dude, the way the rice just clings to that thick gravy too. Boudin is just so satisfying to eat.
I feel like I would get this at a festival. It's such like an easy transport of etouffee.
Or just, you know, like a gas station shack as soon as you cross the Texas-Louisiana border. Ooh, that is flavorful. A little bit of brightness, a little more heat. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I want to know if I just ate this without having made it, if I would pick out etouffee or just say like a seafood boudin, you know?
Yeah.
But what is the difference?
Right.
Yeah, that's tasty. Good amount of heat, good amount of flavor. Not too much meat, too. We kept adding. I think I added like 5 pounds of meat to this thing.
It's enough so every single bite gets meat. But yeah, it's not overwhelming.
Not just eating pure rice. That is fantastic. I love boudin. It's been too long. Never made a seafood boudin before, though, but definitely keeping that recipe around.
Yeah. How many did you make?
Like 30.
Good.
So, you know, that's the best part about boudin. You know, pull this out in the morning, throw a fried egg on it, dinner time, and we got plenty of this gravy too, which is just so good. Where are you at on the eating it in slice form versus like tubular?
I like the tube.
Tubular is better.
Yeah.
It's the boudin experience.
Yeah. There's just something about being able to hold it. It's just nice.
That is good. And I'm not being a wimp, but I like etouffee to have a good kick to it.
Yeah, that keeps you coming back for more.
But not enough to scare you away.
That is really good.
You want to see if you can eat one in one bite? It'll be good for views. Lol. And with this very last bite of etouffee boudin, I think it's time for the official taste test. All right, y'all, and that is it. That is how to make some absolutely fantastic etouffee boudin, or seafood gumbo sausage, or whatever you want to call it. Either way, I highly recommend giving this one a try. You know, if you've never made boudin before, it's a super fun process. It's also great for the beginners because everything is already cooked going into the casing, so you can make sure all your flavors are dialed in ahead of time. And something about boudin, that rice sausage, it's so satisfying to eat, so flavorful, and the seafood version is no exception. Definitely something I'll be making again in the future. It's just got all the flavor of a gumbo, an etouffee, and a boudin all wrapped up in one. It's spicy, it's flavorful. Highly recommend it, folks. Very tasty, and I'm glad I made a bunch because I'm going to be eating that for the next few weeks. But all that being said, if you enjoyed this video, let me know by hitting that subscribe button. Let YouTube know by dropping a like on this video. If you give this recipe a try for yourself, be sure to tag me on Instagram at Chuds BBQ. I'd love to see what y'all are cooking. Big shout out to all the Team Chud members. Thank you for supporting this channel and allowing me to keep making all these videos. And until the next time I see you, please go cook something outside. Peace.